They said, no, it's the war of aggression, and that's not what it was really about. And you had the Daughters of the Confederacy and all this kind of stuff. So now you got people running around here who don't know history. All you got to do is go read what the Confederates said about themselves at the time. Don't read when they tried to go whitewash it. Read what they said when they was going to war. And I tell you something else I need. And I tell you something else I'm tired of. I'm tired of, listen, if racist, I know sometimes y'all watch the show. I know you do. You DM me with your little problems. Listen, stop telling me, how come y'all want reparation? How come, how many lives, how many people, you know how many white men died for y'all to be free? They didn't die for me. They died because your brethren in the Confederacy wanted to own people. That's not a reparation to me. They died because you wanted to own people. That's not what they got to do with me. Your people were immoral. Deal with your own immorality. That don't have nothing to do with me. You don't want to talk about how bad slavery is or how bad slavery was because you don't want to talk about yourself. You don't want to talk about yourself. Listen, we just got people talk about, I say this all the people talk about our American democracy and they harken back. Oh, our American democracy, it was started in 1770, the Constitutional Convention. They do all that stuff. Child, we didn't get included in American democracy in name until the Civil Rights Movement. We didn't get included until the 60s. It ain't even been 100 years. And you want to talk to me about American democracy? You want to talk to me about wokeism? How about I talk to you about just how awful that is? How about I talk to you about putting other people in chains and how awful that is? How about I talk to you about how long y'all tried to keep us from voting and put dogs on us? And this has been 400 years of oppression or crude advantage. Slavery was just the beginning. And you want to talk to me about wokeism after y'all done, according to that New York article, took all that money and stole all that money that from crypto and all this kind of stuff. Y'all over there just basically taking bribes, want to talk to me about wokeism and how this shouldn't be here because you don't even want to tell the truth. You don't know the truth. Truth ain't never seen you. Y'all ought to be ashamed. You know what they say? You know what the old people say? Tell the truth and shame the devil. That's what they say. The truth will set the devil on fire. Let me just, I want to go to one other thing really quickly. Because you see Trump trying to reinstall all these Confederate statues and just to try to placate losers, I guess, because I wouldn't be running around doing nothing for no people who lost the war, right? They shouldn't have fought it in the first place, but I would be running around trying to, bury that thing deep in the dirt and put a little memorial on it. Here lies a traitor. Here lies a person who did not understand that all humans have a right to exist, a right to liberty, a right to justice. Here lies that kind of person. Here's a person who had no honor. Here's a person who had no commitment to country. Here's a person who didn't understand what patriotism meant. Here lies a traitor. That's what that's what I want to see. Bury all of the statues, and I want that monument to be there. That's the symbolism I need. That is the symbolism of justice. That is the symbolism of honesty. I don't know what these white folk are trying to convince us of on the right. I'm not talking about nice white folk. We got some of y'all. I know y'all. I love y'all. Wonderful, wonderful. We had people like that in the movement too. Wonderful. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about I'm not talking about the person who fought in the Union. I'm talking about the one who fought in the Confederacy. And in 2025, it's still, do you know that thing was over in 1865? Whew. Y'all talk like we caused it. Y'all talk like we was the one. That's the conversation. They have the conversation as if we were the ones who were trading slaves and they were the ones who broke free and got their freedom. They talk like they were the victims. The way the right makes themselves into victims is something that it boggles the mind. Reverse racism, Confederacy. You were not the victim. You were the aggressor and you lost. Take your L like a man or a woman. Take your L. Don't be sitting around crying about an L your brethren or ancestors took back in 1865. They were losers. That's what losers do, lose. I don't know. I don't understand how you got this revisionist history. I don't know what you got going on. Bury that thing. For those of y'all who might not know, the Trump administration will restore and reinstall the only statue that had honored a Confederate official in the U.S. Capitol after demonstrators toppled and set it on fire. During the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, the face statue depicts Albert Pike, a Confederate diplomat and general who worked closely with Native Americans from slave-owning tribes that sided with the Confederacy during the Civil War and fought to protect slavery as an institution. Of course. Of course. Of course. These people were anti-freedom. There's no way you can fight for slavery and say you are a patriot or you are a liberator. Child, come on. Let's not talk crazy to each other. But I want to bring this up. I mentioned EJ. I want to bring this up really quickly. Every time you talk about the Confederacy, you are talking about slavery. The only difference is that if I talk about slavery and the horror of it, when I talk about it, the difference between me and you is we're both talking about slavery. I'm telling the truth and you're telling a lie. That's the only difference. The only difference is who is telling the truth about that story and who is telling a lie. And you're telling a lie for political gain because it's easy to manipulate people with this Confederacy lie because nobody likes to feel bad about themselves or their people. Because especially if you're from the South, you don't want to feel that way. You want to feel like it's okay to discriminate against ADOS in this era. Like I can discriminate American descendants of slavery. They really are kind of inferior. You have that in your head. And that's why you keep this lie alive. Because you kind of agree with them. You know what it was about. You know it wasn't about no northern aggression. You lie to somebody else. Don't lie to me.